Hi, in this video we are going to explore the job card and explain what each of the different components of the job card means. We're currently looking at an accounts job card for a client called the Bus Company Limited, year ended 31st of October 2016. So, a key thing to remember with the job card is that although the job cards will look very much like this one if you fire up a trial system and use the templates that we provide, the screen is very much configurable. So pretty much everything you see on the screen can be changed via the configuration. Of course, we'll cover that in different videos that focus on how to do different things within the workflow editor, but just bear that in mind as we go through this video. So the most important part of the screen is probably over here. The text here shows the current stage that this job is on. That's going to be reflected in a lot of the reports and also on a lot of the dashboard widgets. You'll be focusing on which stage of my job's on, and that is shown there. Now, for every stage that you're on, you will have one or more progress buttons. That's the blue buttons you see here. And the way that you record progress on a job is by clicking on these buttons. Now, the buttons do a variety of things. First of all, they will change the stage. So that may mean they go backwards, it may mean they go forwards, it may mean they jump down a few or to the end. It's entirely down to how you have joined up your process. The example here, books and records chased, will actually simply loop on the same stage, building up an audit trail of when books and records have been chased. Pressing the blue progress buttons will also execute any number of workflow actions. Workflow actions are explained in a different video, but they'll do things like changing the current holder, setting target dates, sending text messages, sending emails. So we'll cover those on a separate email, but just bear in mind that you can trigger those when you click a button. Okay, coming over to the left here, we have the list of stages. So for example, this current stage 1 is awaiting books and records. That's the description of the stage. And each stage has what we call a milestone text. It's the description of what happens when you complete this stage. So that the equivalent milestone text here is books and records chased or received. So every stage is listed here, and they're also grouped into regions. The benefit of that is that some of the dashboard widgets have an option to be shown by stage. For example, show me all my stages and how many jobs are in them. Whereas you can also have the same widget shown by region. That might be beneficial if, for example, you want a lot of stages, a lot of detail to help the people doing the job, maybe 20 stages. You can still compress that into 3 or 4 kind of big picture regions. Every stage has a few things. First of all, it has a megaphone icon. This allows you to make a comment on a specific stage. Okay, so that's pretty useful because it's incredibly visible and you can hover over that and see who left that comment and what they said. It also has a target date box. Now, you can enter a target manually by clicking on either the box or the icon there and finding, the appropriate date. So let's just get back into December. However, most targets in Glide are entered automatically by workflow actions. So that of course is going to be on a separate video. To the right, one more column, you have the actual date. This is essentially the date that someone completed this stage. You can have more than one, as we saw here, per stage. It gives a complete audit log of what's happened. Remember, you don't enter these dates yourself. They are entered by virtue of pushing the blue progress buttons. Coming down to the job fields, much like our client database, you can have data in custom fields on every single job. So you can have custom job fields. There's a variety of data types available, and you can use these for a variety of reasons. So looking at a couple of examples that exist on our accounts template, we have a field that controls whether it's the first year since incorporation. That, by the way, is set automatically where you use the company house integration. And we have a field that controls whether this job has corporation tax deadlines. You often have fields to control who is doing the job, such as the preparer. And if you take a look at the related videos that talk about these fields, you'll see there's a lot of different functionality there to have these fields defaulting to different settings, defaulting to client fields, writing back to client fields. You can block progress of the workflow until these are completed. So lots of different things you can do with job fields. Deadlines. So of course the Glide system is very specifically for accountants in practice. All statutory deadlines that apply to a job are calculated automatically and will be listed here. They're going to avoid non-working days such as weekends. You're going to see them roll backwards to the last working day. In your configuration, just to confirm, deadlines will only appear where they are applicable. So the company's house deadline will only appear for client types limited, PLC, LLP and charity company. And the CT deadlines will only appear where the corporation tax is set to yes. As part of configuring your workflow, you decide how these deadlines get a green tick. It's impossible to finish the workflow until such a time as all the deadlines have a green tick. So let's go down and see how I've got that set up in mine. First of all, just an example, when I click Books and Records Received here, you'll see a target date being set in Final Account Sent. There we go. So let's get down to the bottom of this workflow. That's another example of a workflow action. I'm insisting on the job being allocated at this point, else you can't proceed. Okay, I'm going to take the quickest route through this process because I want to show you the last step. Okay, so finalise is my final button, and you'll see again it's impossible to click that at the moment because we have these incomplete deadlines. Now, a deadline can either be deemed complete when you pass through a stage. That might be nice, for example, on the VAT. You'll obviously have a stage that says VAT submitted to HMRC, and at that point you can tell the system to mark the deadlines complete. The other option is to have them marked as complete by virtue of a custom date field being completed, and that's the option I've taken on my accounts template here. So I have a date field called account submitted to company's house, which we put in there. I have a date field for CT payment made or client advised, which ticks off the second deadline, and I have a date field for CT600 filed, which ticks off the final deadline. And you'll see I'm now allowed to hit finalised. There are a variety of different thoughts on how best to deal with the differences between incorporated and unincorporated clients. So in the templates, I deal with all those accounts workflows on the same or through the same workflow route. If this was unincorporated, these deadlines would not appear and you'd be allowed to complete the workflow. You would just ignore these 3 date fields. Some people have, the submissions as part of the workflow and have a progress button to, miss them out should it not be necessary. Other people will have a separate workflow route for incorporated and unincorporated clients, and some people have a separate workflow system, so lots of options there. Just to explain a final couple of components of the screen, we have related tasks, so you can have, we do have a tasks module to have very ad hoc quirky tasks, and you can link them to both clients and to jobs. The best way to do that is to hit the Create Task button, which will allow you to create a task and will automatically link it to the appropriate job. We also have the related links. This will show for any linked clients, it will show any active workflows and who is currently holding the workflow and what stage it is at. Clicking on any of those fields would take you to the appropriate workflow card. That's useful, for example, when you're looking at a company, maybe it has 3 or 4 directors, you can quickly see if you're waiting for their tax return info. Final part of the screen to point out is the comments. So you'll see your comments on the stage appear here, but you can also make other comments. And if you make a comment, it's visible to everyone. If you make a private comment, it's visible only to the person that made it. Other users can respond to these comments in a conversational manner. Anyone that is linked to this client will get a notification to say that there is a discussion ongoing. The positions up here, partner, manager, preparer, you can have up to 9 positions on any workflow system. You can call them what you like, and anyone that occupies these positions will be linked to this job. Being linked to the job is really important because on your dashboards you may wish to select the linked view to filter down the results to only those jobs you are linked to. And of course, if you are occupying a position on the client record, you will automatically occupy a position on the job record unless you set it up differently. And if you are of the right user type if you have sufficient access. Okay, I don't here. The edit job button will allow you to edit certain parts of the job record, and likewise delete will obviously delete it. Recording time and expense entries, we'll save that as part of the guide time add-on, so we'll save that for a separate video. So that is the whirlwind introduction to the job card, and as I said at the outset, the key thing to remember is that everything you see on here is 100% configurable. Thank you.